Hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. It is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Oh, love it. Memorial Day week throwing us all off. But anyways, welcome back. Today's a different video. I had made some comments last week when I was talking about my reading week that alluded to some of the things I was doing personally and my ultramarathon that I was doing on this past Saturday, and a couple of you asked about that. And so this is a non-book related kind of video. So this past Saturday, I did an ultramarathon. Didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to be. So I'm going to talk about that, but to take kind of a step back, and give you a little more personal view into myself. Obviously, I like to walk and run. I'm not much of a runner. I predominantly walk. I spend probably 80% of my time during the week when I'm exercising. It's walking. I do run with a running group. I try to once a week. It doesn't always end up that way, but I like to do that. I walk probably 45 to 55 miles a week. It seems like quite a bit, and I get that. But it's good for me. I have had back issues in the last couple of years, and walking was the one thing that kind of helped. Chiropractic appointments, muscle relaxers, pain meds. I mean, they didn't really help the situation. Walking seemed to be the biggest deterrent to back issues. I basically don't have what do you call it? I basically have bone on bone from L4 and L5 and S1. There's no discs in between those vertebrae. So if I gain weight, which I've lost a significant amount of weight in the last 2 years, if I gain weight or if I don't exercise regularly, I mean, my back bothers me. And so daily walking is good for my back. Now, obviously, I've gotten to the point where I walk quite a bit, and I'll go out today and probably walk for an hour, and that would be an easy walk, and I walk faster than most people too. I mean, I'll be honest. Most of my walking is 11 and a half to 12-minute miles, so I'm walking pretty quick. But at the same time, like I've worked my way up to that, and obviously over the course of many, many miles. And so it's led me to, look at, distance stuff. I like to do distance, for the fun of it, I'll go out and do a half marathon on a Saturday just for the heck of it. My wife will drop me off way out in the country and I'll walk all the way back home type thing. Like, it's just for fun. I obviously, like I've told you, I get a lot of reading from Audible done while I'm walking or doing other things. So I feel like I multitask when I do it. It's good for my health. And then I also get more reading in. So I enjoy it. With that being said, I took another shot at this ultramarathon that I did the previous year. And basically, it's in Indiana, and I did it last year. It's a 12-hour ultramarathon, basically, where you do loops after loops after loops on a 5-kilometer course, 3.1 mile course, and you get 12 hours and you do as many miles as you can type thing. And obviously there's a lot of people out there that are running it. I choose to walk. I like to walk. And so last year I did it and I dropped out after about 10 hours and I did 40 miles, which was pretty good. But I learned a lot. And, I learned a lot about, even though there's not a significant amount of hills in this particular course, doing more hills in the training was going to be helpful. So I did a lot of that this past year leading up to this. I also increased mileage and I looked at different kind of nutritional type things because last year I bowed out because of nausea and cramping. Well, leading up to this year, I felt pretty comfortable and I had a goal of 50 miles. I felt like with my increased mileage and training and another year under my belt, I felt 50 miles was probably going to be right in my wheelhouse. And so I started the race really, really good, really, really strong. It was humid. I mean, but the first 5 hours were supposed to be overcast, which it was, and the walking was good. I was right on pace. I knew that I needed to be probably a little beyond 25 miles after the first 6 hours because I know the last 6 hours are going to be rough, and I knew the sun was going to come out, the heat was going to go up, but I also knew you get tired, so you kind of want to be a little more than halfway, but not crazy. But after 6 hours, I got to 28 miles and I thought I was in a good position. However, after 4 hours, I knew something was a little off and my energy levels were bad. Um, still had a lot of go in the legs, but I just was really down energy wise. And up in that point, I was eating some solid foods, eating some gels. I had been drinking water with electrolytes in it. I've been drinking water with salt tabs, and I also had been drinking Gatorade. So I felt like I had, electrolytes, but it was humid, so I was continuing to drink. I was definitely trying to stay ahead of the hydration type thing. But then it kind of turned on me, and going into base camp at the halfway mark, I knew something was off. I felt real nauseous. The last loop when I got back in, I was cramping quite a bit in my legs and feet. And so I knew something was off, and I was hoping if I take a short rest, change clothes, feel a little better, I felt like I would maybe pick it up, drink quite a bit, refuel type thing. When I got ready to go out on the next loop, I knew something was off again. I just felt really nauseous and it was a struggle to walk, period. So I went ahead and started. I got about 100 yards into the course and I just backtracked back to the beginning and sat down at the aid station, and I was being helped by a gentleman there. Threw up, and then I sat in my kind of area with some friends, and I was like, well, I think I feel better. I'm going to give it another shot. We were all talking about puke and rally, like puke and rally, you're going to be fine. So then I went out, started going, took it slow. I knew, maybe if I could go slow, maybe I'll settle and things will be fine. I got to about 1.5 miles into the course, and there's a self-service aid station type thing, a table with, stuff. And I basically sat on the trail, and I knew something was really bad. And so I felt just completely nauseous. I felt like I couldn't stand, let alone walk. And luckily, the gentleman that had been helping me earlier saw me, and he was out in one of those gators trying to refill the aid station. They did that. They put me in the gator. They took me back to base camp. Then I started walking to our tent area, and I started just vomiting profusely. At that point, I kind of realized that probably my day was done. You have a lot of emotions when it comes to ultramarathons. I really feel like there's a lot of mental. I mean, you have to train. There's no doubt about it. Your body's going to go through pain no matter how good of shape you are. Your muscles are going to be overdone. Your ligaments are going to be stretched and restretched and just inflamed, and your feet and everything's going to hurt. But that, and it's a matter of mind over, it's kind of one of those mind things. You have to just overcome it. But at that point, I kind of realized my race was done, and it really hurt me in the sense of knowing like I still had quite a bit left physically to give, but I just couldn't overcome the fact that I couldn't hold fluids down. So at that point, I changed clothes. I came back to base camp. Technically I was still in the race. But at that point, I knew I was pretty much done. I vomited, I think, again for the third time. And then I became concerned that I might have to go to the ER because I just wasn't keeping anything down. And so finally my wife, was there, and she came and picked me up, and we drove home back to Illinois. And the whole way there, I held a garbage bag because I felt nauseous the whole ride home. It took about 24 hours before I kind of just turned around and felt okay. That evening, even when we were back home, I continually had to get up because my muscles would cramp, like I'd have Charlie horses in my calves. My toes would cramp up and I'd have to walk them off. And it was brutal. I mean, but it was obviously definitely, there's an imbalance of electrolytes and the cramping that, I'm going to have to figure out, because it's definitely one of those things. I enjoy this. I enjoy challenging myself. And so, yeah, the mileage, 50 miles in 12 hours seems like a lot, and it is. But I mean, it's definitely something that I know I can do. It's just a matter of, if my body will agree with me the whole time type thing. So I definitely am looking forward to it again, even though I had some thoughts, you go through these emotions of, well, maybe this isn't for me type thing. But that's really it. That's kind of my story. Obviously, I had this goal. I fell miserably short. And now I'm thinking about, what I need to do to change and try again. So it is what it is, but that's kind of my story. I hope this kind of gives you some insight to me, satisfies that itch you may have had type thing. So I hope you're having a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, before I go, I will have a book review up later today on Everybody Dies by Lawrence Block. I'm almost done with that book. I'm literally I'm on the last chapter. So I'm enjoying that book a lot. So be on the lookout for that. So anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.